So if you're like me and you live in America, you know $1,000 for rent doesn't get you very far. Maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago it did, but today, unfortunately, that's not the case, and $1,000 barely gets you like a studio apartment. However, $1,000 does go far in other countries due to the currency exchange. In this video, we're gonna look at legit active real estate listings for rent in other countries around the world. I'm gonna cover every single continent so you could see what $1,000 for rent really looks like. And I've seen other videos do like the same idea with what $1,000 rent can get you around the world, but it's always speculative, and they're like, oh, $1,000 could get you this or could get you this, but they don't show you what it does get you. So in this video, I'm going to show you what it does get you, not what it could get you. You can literally, depending on when you watch this, look up these active listings and maybe even rent one. So if you do that, drop a comment because I need a marketing fee from the realtor. No, I'm just kidding, but whatever, that's irrelevant. So yeah, let's get into it. I feel like people are always mind blown with Bali, Indonesia pricing because of the currency exchange being so generous to Americans in Indonesian currency. I have two active listings that we're going to look at, and both of these look like great deals. Also, one thing to note in Bali is all rentals include electricity, Wi-Fi, and weekly housekeeping. I wish mine had that in America. That would be pretty nice. All right, so here we are on the first listing in Bali. We have the semi-villa private pool, which costs 150 IDR per year, which equates to about 9,418 USD or $750 a month. And for this, you get a nice little 1-1 with the pool access being right next to the bed, which is cool. I would say the main downfall is the kitchen with this one and the fridge being small. For 750 bucks, you get your own pool, your own kitchen, your own like little space. And you're also in Bali, so food is cheap. You don't need to cook. Like you just go out to eat every day. Like why would you even waste time cooking? It's a cute little spot. I could see myself enjoying the pool here right next to the bed, and then just going out in town or going to like an office space to work and stuff like that. This is the next one, charming 2-bedroom villa in Schaal. I'm sorry, somebody's gonna be mad at me how I pronounced it. This one costs 200 million a year, which equates to about 12,572 a year or $1,047 a month. So it's a little bit above the 1,000 rent, but it's still in like the ballpark, and maybe you can negotiate it down to get to 1,000 or less. Now, the main difference with this one compared to the other one is the pool is smaller. I'm having a hard time seeing if that's like a pool or hot tub right in the middle of the house. Also lacks a little bit of furniture, which is kind of a downfall, but it has 2 bedrooms and a full kitchen. If you're split with a roommate, you could have 2 bedrooms, and if you have family or guests coming over, you have another spot that they could stay. This one is also walking distance to the beach and a little bit of a different vibe, so I think it's cool. Personally, if I had to pick, I would probably go with this one, the more expensive one. I like having like a little space that maybe I could set up an office and work, or have people come over and host events or dinners. So I would probably go with this one for a few $100s more. That shows just how affordable Bali is. And our next one is going to be in India. So we're staying in Asia. We're going to Mumbai, India. And you saw that little animation thing? That was pretty cool. I just learned how to do that in Google Earth. So you could put in the location, it gives you a little animation. So you're gonna be seeing that the rest of this video too. I spent a lot of time trying to find long-term rentals in India, in particular in Mumbai, India, and it was actually hard to find them. It wasn't like as easy of access as Indonesia and other locations. So I actually went on Airbnb and just put a month calendar time period, and I found a couple listings. This seems like the best one, and this Airbnb listing is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom listing, and on Airbnb it brings the price to $709 a month. Now I have an Airbnb, so I'm very familiar with Airbnb. 99% of the time Airbnb is overpriced. So if you somehow found the real owner of this, you could probably get this for like 500 bucks or even cheaper, because Airbnb adds their own fees and just a lot of other stuff. But let's assume we're not doing that, and this one costs $700 a month. And I'm going to show the pictures of this, but on a side note, this might be the worst Airbnb listing I've ever seen in my life. And like, I almost want to just message this host Babita and just like help her with this listing, because I don't know how she thought about this, but look at the first set of pictures. It's a curtain, another angle of the curtain, and then the curtain's closed, and then like a lamp with a wire. Why are you putting these as your first pictures? It doesn't make sense. And as we scroll down, we can see the bed and the balcony, which looks like a nice little balcony space. The fridge is kind of small, but that's fine. I found this one funny because she shows the utensils here, but the utensils is 1 spoon, 1 knife, and 1 fork, and then like a couple coffee things. It's like, well, you just get 1 utensil for each thing. Like, where are the other utensils? pencils. It's just crazy. I don't know how somebody could like think that this was in a wrench and a screwdriver. Like, how did somebody think of this was a good idea? Overall, the space looks decent. It's just very poorly orchestrated and taken. Like, look, she has the classic phone in the mirror for the bathroom, but it's just like the sink with a bunch of stuff on the counter. And I think these are hilarious because pictures of the surrounding area quality is so bad that I'm pretty sure this is like a screenshot of a screenshot that somehow got smaller and then screenshot it again. Like, how does this picture get on an Airbnb listing? It looks like the gym is pretty nice. It looks like an LA Fitness almost. A lot of cardio machines there. I think this is a cool space for $700. Just the Airbnb listing is probably one of the worst ones I've ever seen. And if you somehow reach out to the person directly, I'm sure you can get this for like $500 to $600. So the next one is going to be in Mexico. So in Central America, North America, kind of. And we're going to Cancun, Mexico. And I have to say, out of all of them that we've done so far, which is like 3, I think this might be my favorite one. So this is in Cancun, Mexico, a 3-bedroom furnished apartment for rent for $1,075. It's also 2 bathrooms. But look at this pool. Like, you're literally living in a resort for this amount. So that's the pool. Apparently has 7 pools. Actually, are these the pools? And then that's like an ocean water. I don't know how that works. The apartment itself looks nice. Like, it has like couches, a little dining area. The kitchen itself looks decent. They left their phone on the counter for the pictures. It's just small little details like that. It's like, come on, just don't do that. See how many utensils you get. That's an important one. They didn't show the utensils, so we don't know how many utensils you get. I like the little patio space, and then we're back at the beginning pictures. So 7 pools in a lagoon. So, and a gym and a track and 24-hour surveillance. So $1,075, you can literally live on a resort in Cancun, Mexico, which is pretty cool. Okay, now we're gonna jump back over to Africa because we're going to Alexandria, Egypt. So this is what you can get in Alexandria, Egypt for 40,000 EGP a month. And just so you could see that I'm not BSing, according to Google, 40,000 Egyptian pounds is 805 USD. So that means that this 9,000 square foot mansion, 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, costs $800 a month, and you're getting a huge space. Now it is unfurnished, so you will have to furnish it. Assuming you stay here long term, you know, you could just buy furniture. I'm sure it's cheap in Egypt and you could just furnish it, maybe even rent the furniture or, you know, do something like that. But still, the fact that you're paying $800, look at this, it's fully gated. You're getting security. The backyard is insane too. Look how big this backyard space is with a pool, a million balconies. Like, you're literally living in a castle for $800 a month. I hope somebody in the comments shows me that I am wrong here, because I genuinely want to be proven wrong, because if not, there might be a future where I live in Egypt paying $800 a month to live in a mansion, because this is insane to me. All right, it's time to go to America. United States of America, that is. And we are going to Queens, New York, because you can't have one of these videos without mentioning New York, of course. So I spent a lot of time searching for an apartment that was in our price range of $1,000. It was very hard to do in New York. I wanted to be in like the New York City area, or at least like in Brooklyn, Queens area at the minimum, or maybe Bronx. So this is the closest I could get to $1,000, $1,400, and it's a small little studio space. So you get a little kitchen area, and then this is your living space. So it's really tight. At least you get a kitchen and a bathroom. I don't know how much closet space you have. They don't have any pictures of it. They also don't have the square footage. If I had to guess, maybe 200 to 300 square feet. I think the craziest part about this is if I showed this to, like, I have family that was in New York City. If I showed this to my New York City family, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. Like, I think a New Yorker would look at this and be like, oh yeah, that's a decent price. I think that's the craziest part. But yeah, I mean, you know, you want to live in New York City, this is what you pay. People always forget to cover Sydney. Or people always forget to cover Australia. I mean, so we're gonna cover Sydney, Australia, and cover the this part of the world that people forget about sometimes. So this is what you can get for $1,000 a month in Sydney, Australia. Now this Sydney one took me a long time to understand, because if you're like me, you probably don't know a lot about Australia, especially about real estate and how real estate renting works in Australia. But I'm gonna give you like a little education segment here, because this kind of blew my mind. So you always hear how expensive Australia is. This luxury 2-bedroom apartment costs $850 a month, which seems almost too good to be true, because look at this space. It's a really nice space. This is a $700 apartment that looks really nice, like great view. It's like a new build construction, and it literally says $700 a month here. So it's like, wow, this is phenomenal. Like, I want to move to Australia right now. I can get this for $700. This is cheaper than India. And what I just learned, because I'm looking at this, I was about to put this in the video, like one of these apartments. This is $700 a week, but it says it on a monthly rate for some reason. But like when you're in Australia, it just assumed it's weekly. So I found another website that had rentals, and you could see this one actually clarifies that it's weekly. Here's our first listing. Looks like a decent apartment building. $520 a week. That's over $2,000 a month. And that was like the cheapest one was $500. But I've never seen this before, and I literally do real estate for a living. Apart from making videos, I work in real estate. That's what I do. So I just spent the last 20 minutes looking everywhere in Sydney, Australia, a place that I could rent on a monthly scale for about $1,000 or less, ideally. And I literally couldn't find anything. I was in Facebook Marketplace groups. I did everything until I finally found one on Airbnb. This is the cheapest rental that you can get, and it is the Airbnb listing called had tiny room upstairs, comma. Like, what? Had tiny room upstairs, comma. And the sketchiest pictures you could find. Like, I don't know how somebody could list an Airbnb. This actually might be worse than the India one. Toaster oven, a rice cooker, a coffee machine, decent amenities. We have a mirror with a fire alarm, so they care about your safety, and a clock, little finger in the shot. And we have a shower, so decent little shower. We have a mop if you make a mess. We have a staircase. I assume that's how you get to your room. What looks like the fridge and some complimentary cups there. And we have a place to hang your clothes on what looks like a cast iron plumbing pipe. So I think overall, this is a nice little spot. Also includes a fan for $1,000. And his listing says, discover the gorgeous landscape that surrounds this place to stay. That sounds like it was like AI made or something. There's a possibility that you could maybe die in this Airbnb. Don't know much about this Sky character. It doesn't have any reviews yet, unfortunately. Looks a little sketchy. It is what it is, right? So this next one is somewhere that I've actually been to, and it's one of my favorite cities, and it is Medellin, Colombia. So this one is actually $1,200, and don't be mad at me, but I think this was a really nice spot. That's why I picked this one out, and it's close to downtown, which is nice. I have friends that live in Colombia, and historically, they've all been able to negotiate their rent lower when renting on a yearly scale. So I think if you did reach out to the owner of this, you might be able to get it for $1,000, although that is, of course, speculative. This one is furnished and pretty nice. So let's look at these pictures real quick. They're also really close to the mall, which is nice. Has a bathroom, has a nice little living space with a nice window there, bed and sauna and kitchen and laundry machines. And as the listing says, this apartment offers more than just a place to stay. It provides an urban experience that combines modern comfort with a touch of luxury. So jokes aside, this is a nice deal in Medellin, Colombia for $1,200. Now we're going to go back to Asia because we're going to go to the Philippines, and we're going to be going to Cebu City. You can get this large 1-bedroom unit for 40,000 Filipino pesos a month, which equals about 678 USD a month. And this is a pretty solid deal because you're in a little high rise here, nice little balcony space, decent view, kind of furnished, has the bed, nice windows, decent bathroom, also has some amenities like the pool, and I think I saw a gym. Yep, there's the gym. I think this one probably hits the top 3 or 4 for like best deals that we've seen so far. $678. That's literally half the price of the New York one, and this is a lot more space than that. So we're going to jump from one island to another, and we're going to go from the Philippines to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And in Puerto Rico and San Juan, $1,000, you can get this studio apartment, 375 square feet. On a side note, Puerto Rico uses Zillow, which made it very convenient to find places because the other ones don't use Zillow. So it's a lot easier. But this apartment costs $950 a month. It's a studio apartment, 375 square feet. It's a pretty tight space. Puerto Rico is actually a little bit more expensive than I expected. Picking out this space because it's on the same street as all the hotels. So you can see all the pink dots are hotels there. And then the beach is right here. You have a nice little park here. So you're pretty close to the beach. You're close to all the hotels, which people pay a lot of money to stay in. It's a really tight space, but maybe you just don't use the space that often and you're just always at like places and just come here to sleep. And as the listing advertises in the first line, it is gay owned and a gay friendly house. So We're not judging on this video. Maybe you like that, maybe you don't, but you can go outside of this San Juan area. If you go in like the outskirts a little bit more, it is cheaper, but I just wanted to stay like downtown just because the hotels were there and stuff. And if I was renting, this is probably like where I would want to be. And I know what you're thinking at this point. You're thinking, okay, we did Asia, we did South America, we did North America, kind of like with New York, we did Caribbean, but we haven't done Europe. And that's a good point. And that's why we're going to go to Stockholm, Sweden right now and check out what you can get for $1,000 a month in Stockholm. So for 10,350 Sweden krona, which equals about $935 a month, you can get this cool like little loft studio apartment. It has that design where like the ladder goes up and like your bed and stuff are up there. But it is like unfurnished besides like a couple of chairs and some kitchen stuff from what I can tell. We don't know what the utensil situation is, if you're getting more than one fork and one spoon and one knife. A very tall fridge. Are Swedish people just that tall? They need a tall fridge like that? But yeah, it's a cute little space. I think it's nice. Has like a lot of windows here. It's not too expensive at $935 a month. And we're gonna wrap this video up with Madrid, Spain. So jump onto the other side of Europe. And for $1,000, I actually found two different options because I was having a hard time picking which one I liked better. So let's look at both and see what you can get. So the first one is another studio with like a loft style bedroom with the stairs to get to your bed. I don't know why. I always like that design, even though I've never lived in one personally. It costs 750 euros a month, which equals to about 800 USD, depending on like the day that you do the currency exchange, because it changes so often. And you get a little kitchen kind of, and then a dining area, and that's kind of it. It's a decent spot for 800 bucks. The next one is interesting because if you read it initially, you're gonna be like, oh wow, this is a good deal, because it's penthouse for rent for 1,000 euros, which is like 1,100 USD. But I don't know how they can call this a penthouse, because if you look at it, it's on the 5th floor. Like, I feel like a penthouse is like minimum like 20th floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're like right up here. So I don't think anybody would look up at this building and be like, yo, who lives in the penthouse up there? Like, you're just on the 5th floor. You're not in the penthouse. Like, let's relax. So I think that was a little over ambitious calling it a penthouse. But I think this is a cool little space. You have the door and then a little couch. So you have somewhere to chill. And then the couch comes down as a bed. You have a little dining room, kitchen with the laundry machine, and a little bathroom. So this one's decent. It costs a little bit more at $1,100-ish a month. So a little bit over our $1,000 budget. But I think I would go with the penthouse and pay extra money just to have like that couch and a little bit more space. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it opened your eyes to see what you can get around the world for $1,000. And maybe you want to travel around and work remote. You know, that sounds like a great idea. I think the rankings go like Egypt, Cancun, maybe like to Thailand one, you know, and whatever else. I don't even remember what else we saw. The Philippines one wasn't bad. So yeah, I would appreciate if you like and subscribe and drop a comment with which one you thought was the best or what other countries you want to see